Sweet 98. Hello. I'm trying to do this with one finger. I'm with one hand. Well, and one finger. Yeah, I know. If people listening could see.
I know. Well, they can't.
What the hell I'm even talking about?
What the hell?
I'm trying to retweet this, and I'm not succeeding. I keep going backwards. But hey, such is life. Here you are. There I go. Hey, Chelsea's up on Palmeiras.
Oh yeah.
Matter of fact, I think they won. They did.
Is it full time? Are we in extra time yet?
I think it was extra time now. It was in extra time.
Something happened to your microphone. You sound muffled.
Oh, I'm sorry. It fell.
I knew something happened. Put some Viagra in your microphone.
There we go.
What did you think
How about
of
that? Look at that.
What did you think of Gordon Soley when we were growing up?
What did I think of him?
Yeah, because he would make sporadic appearances, right? You wouldn't see him all the time. You might see him on Georgia Championship Wrestling, but he would be on some big shows for Crockett, right?
Yeah, he would mostly be on the big shows. I was trying to think. I don't really remember. I didn't see the TBS. I didn't see the TBS back in the day when he was the man. I kind of started watching when it was Ross and Shivani and that bunch.
Superstation WTBS. It's Gordon Soley. Mr. Jones, you have screwed up royally.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I may have seen some. I don't want to say. It seems like I guess I've just seen clips from the past or something. But growing up and stuff. But yeah, I'm like you, just bits and pieces here and there. But I never really knew him well enough to form a great opinion of him as far as like comparing him to other broadcasters. I guess if that's what you're asking, I don't know.
He felt to me like more of a legitimate sports announcer than the other guys did. Like you could hear him calling like a NFL game or something. More so than you could Bob Caudle or Tony Schiavone or somebody else.
Well, he was more newsy for sure, but I could hear, I could definitely hear that. But I think Bob Caudle sounded kind of newsy. I mean, he sounded like he was straight out of the newsroom.
That was his kind of his background. I think he was the weather guy. I believe he was a weather guy on the Big
Five.
Was
it weather? Was it?
I think he was on. I think he did weather on the Big Five. WRAL TV, for those of you who don't know, back in those days was getting 60 and 70 shares. It was just ridiculous shares.
Ridiculous, man.
Maybe he didn't, because Bob DeBartoleben was the classic weather guy. Maybe he did sports then, but I can't remember. Of course, Rich Brenner was on sports there for a little while.
Yeah.
And then they had Bobby Batista was the female anchor, and I can't remember the big anchor.
Batista. But he went on to CNN headline news.
Exactly, and they would get just stupid, ridiculous, like Memphis wrestling numbers in that 6 o'clock news spot. It was just I was explaining, I was explaining the Memphis thing last night to my girlfriend. We did our Valentine's Day last night, Brian. I went to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. You been to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse?
No, I have not. Is this now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the place where you go and you pick each thing is separate?
Yes, a la carte. The French word a la carte, which it's French, and the translation means you're getting fucked. Basically, is what it means.
Okay, okay.
I had a $37 glass of wine. I said glass. I didn't say bottle. A $37 glass of wine last night, bro.
God, even if you said bottle, I'd have been like, dude, boy, you're
a $37 bottle. Nice. I would have been. Yeah, it was a 9-ounce pour of some pretty good, Cabernet Sauvignon. It did not suck my dick afterwards, which was what I was expecting.
Well, I was going to say.
Yeah, I didn't, but it was the.
There are people out there who love the wine and could probably, maybe, I don't know, appreciate that price. but maybe it was great. But man, give me a $7 bottle. I said bottle of Chardonnay, and I'm good. I'm not like I said, I'm not a wine person anyway. But I just can't imagine.
It was delightful and not too oaky. Very smooth. The tannins were great.
Nice.
All that stuff. Really, really nice.
Well, sweet.
Very, very nice. But no.
How was
Bob
the food? Are we going to talk about the food?
First class. Fantastic steak. Unbelievable steak. I got the New York strip Oscar style with the Béarnaise sauce, little crab, little asparagus, all that. Wonderful. Really, really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do things first class there at the Ruth's Chris.
Now, do they have the Japanese beef there?
Oh, Wagyu or Kobe? I didn't see any. I think they were.
Okay.
I don't think they have any of that stuff. I saw that Kobe is the stuff they feed beer to. They give beer to that stuff, and they massage it.
Massage them. Okay.
Yeah.
Like the cows kind of march into the barn and they just
something like that. And they just give them a massage.
Give them a big massage. Okay.
It's not the massage. It's hard to believe. It's the happy ending. That was written. No, I'm kidding. That's not. They don't do any of that. Right. It's not true at all.
Oh yes, they're pampered so nicely.
Joe Rogan is off of the UFC pay-per-view tonight.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's off the UFC pay-per-view.
When did that happen? Recently?
It says. Let me look at the New York Post article, because that's not fake news. That's owned by Rupert Murdoch, so they're going to give you the real scoop on that.
Real deal, right there. That's what America's talking about.
And Joseph Rogan is no longer on the call for UFC 271 as controversy swirls around the popular podcaster and MMA color commentator. A UFC official confirmed to the Post that Rogan will not be there for Saturday's event, citing a scheduling conflict. Bryant.
Okay.
Scheduling conflict.
Okay. How about that?
He remains scheduled to be on color commentary for UFC 272 in March. Michael Bisping, fantastic fighter in his own right, replacing Joseph Rogan on Saturday's telecast alongside John Anik and Daniel Cormier. There's another guy. The guy should show up on America's Top Team pretty soon on All Elite Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
MMA Fighting reported on Wednesday Rogan had been scheduled to be on the 271 broadcast. He has persistently been in the news recently due to his Spotify exclusive podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, and some other musicians, but not enough. Hi, Pearl Jam, talking to you, have pulled their music catalogs off of the streaming service over alleged misinformation disseminated on Rogan's podcast. One of Rogan's recent guests, Dr. Robert Malone, is a virologist banned from Twitter and YouTube. Dr. Malone believes side effects of the COVID-19 vaccine are being withheld by the government, Bryant, and the media, and probably at the behest of Big Pharma. Have you seen the stock? You haven't seen the stock quotes for Spotify? It's a dog.
Is it still going? I know you guys were you and Brad were talking about it last week on the Brad and Britt cast, but it's still going down. You say?
You can look at the 5-day, you can look at the 6-month, you can look at the 1 year. It's a dog. They're in a tough spot. There's a churn rate that goes through all those services. However, there's a couple of the larger services that are associated with companies that are pretty well entrenched. You may have heard of Amazon. You may have heard of Apple. They're both pretty good. You may have heard of Google. Look at this thing.
What?
Yeah, there's this company called Alphabet, and they're the parent company of Google. And they've got their own music service, and they're doing okay. Spotify is just kind of out here, not with any of those big ones. So those others are positioned a little bit better. And if you give people an opportunity or a chance to pull their shit away and go somewhere else, then they're going to take care of it. And then some of the assholes who are boycotting are going to just cancel after the 30-day free trial. So that's not going to work. So,
right. Hey, well, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but if Spotify takes him off, that's taking away his free speech, right?
Of course it is. That's in the Constitution. It says you have a right to have a podcast. That's in the First Amendment. It says it right there.
God,
you have a right to have a podcast, and he would not be able to put it anywhere else. You know what I'm not finding? Because I resubscribed to the Wrestling Observer newsletter.
Right.
The whole thing about Shane McMahon being just fired, we're not getting a lot of details about that.
I noticed that.
Isn't that weird?
I told you, man, I'm not buying the whole. There's more to that story.
There's got to be
what it is. And obviously not a lot of people do know what it is, but
The narrative is on Royal Rumble, he was an asshole. He kept pitching stuff that was not okay for Brock. And then he was very disrespectful to Jamie Noble. And then he was fired. And that's the story. And they've just swept it under the rug, and they've gone on.
Did he and Brock ever go? Is that something that happened? Did they ever go face to face? No, I'm not saying they scrapped or anything, but did they have words with each other? Do you know?
I don't think so. I think he was just bitching to everybody else because at least he's smart enough not to get involved with Brock. And then he was trying to set up his shit. He was trying to set up his shit with Seth. And I think Seth just kind of got caught in the middle and all that stuff. And he just kind of kept his mouth shut, which is what Seth is fairly good at.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It seems weird that Shane would come in and cause so much shit like that. I mean, it's not like it's the first time he's ever come in from not being here for a while kind of thing. I mean, he's done that a million times. So it's not like it's some big to-do. I don't know. Just something about it it isn't flushing right with me. So I still don't know what it is, but maybe we'll find out.
I don't. That feels like that was. There's
Tony Khan was asked about it. Did you see that?
No. What did Tony Khan say about him going through the door or whatever?
No. Well,
the forbidden door.
They were asking us what are the chances of him basically coming to AEW, and he kind of brushed it off like, I'd love to have him here. That'd be great. I think you'd fit in with everybody here as far as what he can do and stuff, but I don't think that'll ever happen, kind of thing. So I mean, he didn't. He totally played it off. He didn't hint to anything.
What'd you think of the two big debuts on All Elite Wrestling's Dynamite, starting with the great Keith Lee? He got a big pop, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I was nice. I was glad to see it. How about you?
It was good, and everybody's saluting the job that Isaiah did for him. Isaiah did a good job.
I noticed
for him.
that. Yeah, I thought that was really good. But it didn't. He did a good job for him, but he also, he got some offense in too, so he didn't totally squash him. I mean, Isaiah didn't get totally squashed in the whole thing. He came out looking pretty good, actually.
Didn't Keith Lee get to use his old gear? Wasn't that just basically his old gear from the WWE?
Looked like it.
That's awesome when you can just walk out with your old gear and not even change it a bit. It looked amazing.
And they still, chanting the catchphrase and what is it? Goddamn.
Warmerainer. 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 Wait a minute, I think that's a dog. That's a dog.
That's what I was going to say, but I wasn't.
Warmerainer. Can't remember what they Limitless or something. When they calling him Limitless?
Limitless Keith Lee, yeah, but it was like it's done. It's like a 3-word phrase. Damn it! Oh my God!
You're so fat. You're so fat.
That's it.
Learn how to work. And then the Switchblade, Jay White making his debut as well. Yes, that was nice.
Yes,
those good debuts, and then they had good numbers. It was a good number for All Elite Wrestling's Dynamite program. They did almost as well as Raw did. Raw had one of their worst days ever, if not their worst rating ever. They got bumped over to the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, that's
because
now see that talking about you were talking about the TNT TBS switch over for AEW and that affecting viewers.
Yeah,
but I think if you were to say that about USA and Sci-Fi, yes,
big time,
yes.
Well, the Olympics are going to F everything up for a while. I don't know necessarily that, I don't know if NBC is getting the bang for their buck that they think they're going to get out of the Olympics and stuff. First of all, the Americans aren't doing that well.
Friends and stuff about it.
The Americans aren't doing as well in a lot of stuff as they should be or could be in the past, and that's what really makes people watch. They had the one kid, Nathan Chen, I guess, the skater, which is, that's the event of the Winter Olympics. That's the one people gravitate toward. It's the ice skating. It gets huge numbers. There's really, outside of that, there's not much that goes on in the Olympics that people pay attention to much. Biathlon, not a lot. Bobsledding once in a while. I know the curling is big up in Canada, and some of the hockey stuff is big in various areas, but it's the figure skating that really gets it done. That's what really, and if they can tell some sort of story, this poor girl, whatever her name is, Schauflin or whatever, who keeps doing terrible on the slopes. God, when she was just sitting there the other night after she was losing and just sitting in the snow for like 20 minutes, I was like, gee, I felt like that before. I can really relate to that. If you can tell a story where she makes a comeback and gets a medal or something like that, then you've got that. But otherwise, I don't know if they're going to get a lot out of that situation.
Yeah. I really couldn't tell you anything. You just told me the whole update, as far as I know, of what's been going on, because I haven't seen a thing about the Olympics. I haven't read about it. I just haven't kept up with it at all. I have zero interest in it, and maybe that's un-American to me or whatever. But I just feel that there are just too many other things I'm dealing with right now, and too many things to watch, and you know, I'm just not interested. There's a lot of, you know, world things going on at the same time, so it's just not interesting to me right now. So that being said, I totally agree with you, man. And I don't know. When's the last time that the Olympics probably had the worst ratings than this? Was it the last Winter Olympics? Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't even know.
They seem to have gotten worse. I remember many years ago when I was working down near Camp Lejeune, I would be able to tune into the little satellite thing. I could hear the various stations doing their stand-up stuff. I guess this was Lilyhammer, maybe. I think it was like Lilyhammer, the one that David Letterman sent his mom to, I think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. This would have had to have been, I guess this would have been 94. I think that was Lilyhammer. Make sure. 94 Winter Olympics.
Sounds
right. That was Lilyhammer. And I do remember hearing the guys from your old station from 102 Jams doing their stand-up from Lilyhammer. They were doing their little updates on the satellite because they give them like 2 minutes. They'd have all of them go in and do like 5 minutes, and they do like little 30, updates, and they have them all sponsored and shit. And I remember 102 Jams doing their guys, and whoever was doing them was over there getting pissed off because somebody was trying to distract them. And he's like, hey, I'm trying to do this here. We're trying to distract him. He's trying to do his little update shit. I love doing shit like that, man. Oh. It says here. Yes. It says here, Bryan Danielson was named this week to the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame, Brian.
Yes, I saw that.
First of all, do you know where there was a Ring of Honor Hall of Fame, and do you know where it's located?
I don't know. I do know the Briscoes were the initial entries.
Really? Well, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Danielson obviously
like a couple of weeks ago, maybe.
And hey, we haven't heard much about the Briscoes coming through the Forbidden Door either, have we?
I haven't.
It was teased.
If there's anything going on, it's very underground. It's nothing that's kicking me in the face.
It was teased, and then it's just not happening.
Yeah, it was teased big time there, and right around the time where I thought it would happen, knowing where they live and where AEW was going to be for those couple of weeks.
Oh, and hey, can you explain to me how Dan Lambert is able to screw off the top ropes and just get all the top ropes down without anybody stopping him? Can you explain that to me?
I don't know, man. I thought he was being very incognito about it. I don't know.
Yeah, right. It was so hard. And he's up there, he's kind of just doing it in front of everything.
I don't know, man.
What was his? I don't know what his investment in that situation is anyway.
I don't know.
Has he really been anti-cowboy shit or what?
I guess.
I haven't. If he is, I just miss it. I don't know.
I got to tell you though, man. Speaking of cowboy shit, I don't know about you, but I don't know. Something's got to happen with Adam Page here. I don't know if he's got to, do what every fan says and turn heel, but I don't know. He's becoming a little stale.
Oh, he's a little bland right now.
I think he is, and I may be wrong. And again, he may be a generation under me, and I don't get this like maybe some people do, but I don't know. The reaction is still good, but I think maybe a couple other guys are even getting bigger pops right now. But I don't know. He just seems kind of stale, but I like him. I'm not saying I don't like him. Something needs to happen besides, getting bloodied up every week or whatever. I don't,
for everything that they've said about Tony Khan being this new age booker and getting the new ways and all this other stuff, this is very old school booking because you do have the babyface guy being chased by the heels, right?
True.
Which is like almost classic booking going back 100 years or something is what it feels like.
Yeah, you're right there.
I was going to tell you this last week, but I forgot to. First of all, Jim Cornette thinks that the bane of your existence, Austin Theory, is like wonderful. He thinks he's the hottest shit going right now.
He says, does he go into detail because I just think the Vince McMahon factor ruins it for me on this dude.
Well, it's weird in that I think the WWE brain trust thinks that if you want to get someone over, you have a lot of Vince McMahon helping to push them on television, which is weird to me, right?
So how often does that happen? I mean, think about that.
Not frequently, but you look at what's going on with Vince McMahon, and so many of us fans are like, we're so concentrated on how old he looks, we're not really paying much attention to Austin Theory and what he's saying or anything. We're kind of just like, Jesus, you look, holy shit. The Crypt Keeper just called and said, damn, that's not great at all.
You're right, man.
Jim likes, of course, he's, got a great look. He thinks his work is really good. He thinks his facials are really good. He sells really good. In fact, Jim Cornette says right now that guy is better than Hangman Page, the world champion in All Elite Wrestling. That is Jim's supposition, which may be a slight bit hyperbolic, but he says that guy in terms of his work and what he does in the ring. I don't know about promos and stuff, but I think he says that he's better than Hangman Page is right now.
Okay, well, I really don't know about promos either. I've just kind of seen some of those horrid vignettes with McMahon that, God, they're just horrible. But the other thing is about him is like kind of like Aaliyah to me, and it just makes, as a fan, it just kind of, I don't know, makes us look stupid, I guess. I don't know, but just like how often did we even see Aaliyah in NXT? I mean,
it feels like we saw her more in some behind the scenes stuff and some like personality previews and stuff on YouTube than we ever saw her on NXT itself on the program.
Ever,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she's a superstar, and then like Austin Theory, he was like made out to be some idiot, and all of a sudden he's like under Vince McMahon's wing. Like that in itself is just dumb. But then you put in the factor that you just talked about him being so old and being really a distraction. And other than that, I mean, I've only seen the dude wrestle a couple times or so. I don't know.
It didn't stand out to me to be all that great either. I mean, it was like, I thought it was okay. I thought he was okay. I thought he worked fine. But I didn't see anything that would make me like, if I may, he's almost a poor man's Trevor Lee at this point. To me. Honestly,
you're not wrong.
I feel like he's, if I may use Trevor Lee's, his government name, Trevor Lee Cottle, and they look like they're poised to give him the North American Championship. He looks like he's right on the verge of grabbing that. So that somehow Trevor, through all the bullshit, they did a nice vignette with Trevor going back to Cameron and looking at his hometown, looking where he grew up and stuff. And they're baby facing the shit out of him right now. They really are. They talk about how he's gone through all of the shit with the feud with Eli Drake and everything, LA Knight.
Yeah.
And they're still doing the kayfabe like, well, I had the cars, I had the money and everything, but I'm still this boy from Cameron, North Carolina. I trade all the cars and all that stuff. I come through that trailer door and I can have that title and say that title is mine. So they were really trying to babyface the shit out of him.
That'd be cool, though. I really hope he does, man.
Cameron Grimes. Sometimes it takes me a while to remember his slave name.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
Through all this stuff that happened is in NXT with the mantle being taken away from Triple H, and then I guess Shawn Michaels is kind of running NXT right now, of course, with the blessing of Vince and Bruce Pritchard. With the 2.0 era, Cameron's been able to kind of hang in there and still rise to the top. So I think that's positive.
Yeah, that it's almost, I don't know, lack of a better word, surprising considering what's going on.
It is.
Right now.
That's the weird part about WWE is when somebody who has real talent is able to actually kind of make it in WWE, you're always kind of surprised. I mean, that's what the thing with Braun Breaker at this point. You're like, I don't know how they're going to fuck this up, but so far it looks okay. It looks like they're doing. I mean, again, Braun Breaker is the greatest can't miss prospect since name it. Whether it's Rocky Maivia, whether it's Brock Lesnar, Braun Breaker looks like the guy that you can't miss. You can't fuck it up. I mean, you even Vince would have trouble fucking this one up at this point. And they got him. They got him involved, and it looks like it's going to be a 3-way. And it looks like he's going to get that Ziggler rub, right? Dolph Ziggler showing up on NXT this week.
Yeah, how about that? That was kind of out of the blue.
It's nice, and it's good that young Rex Steiner is going to get a chance to work with a pro like Dolph Ziggler, a guy with a great amateur background. I think Rex Steiner has somewhat of an amateur background as well, so it'll be nice for those two to work. And then of course, I think Dolph's going to put him over like $1 million and make him look good, because that's what he does, because he's not Triple H. So I'm not sure. I don't know when you pull the trigger on bringing Braun Breaker up to the main roster. I know they're trying to take their time, and they've already put the belt on him. But at some point you run out of room in NXT and you wait too long. It's the Bailey disease, right?
Bailey disease.
You wait too long. Obviously he's not going to make it for this WrestleMania, but do you go ahead the night after WrestleMania, put him on that Raw, and then have him debut? Because that's the dream. That's the dream spot right there.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, you could and have him built up and ready for whoever the world champ is on whatever brand, Lesnar or Lashley or whoever. I mean, you could, but then you're going to have to say, okay, somebody needs to they need to have somebody to have the torch ready to pass it to, because he hardly has had the torch in his hand long enough to even, get it warm enough for somebody to even have next,
You wonder if at this point it would be a good idea to have, Brock Lesnar. Or no, you wonder if it would be a good idea to have Roman Reigns put the guy over. The guy that you mentioned, though, Bobby Lashley, might be the way to go. I personally still have a huge problem with seeing Bobby Lashley as a top guy. I've always thought he's a pretty good worker. I've always thought his promos were whatever. He needs a spokesperson. He's to me, he's a body guy.
Oh yeah.
To me, he's the black Lex Luger. In my opinion, that's what he is. He's not. He's probably. I just don't see him as a main eventer. I see him as a solid mid-card guy. I think they pushed him well beyond whatever he can bring to the table. He's done well in this last run. I'll give him all of that ever since he came back from Impact Wrestling. But
yeah, now I do like his ring work. His ring work, I think, has gotten, I don't know if it's just me or whatever, but I think it's gotten better, in fact, over the last, 5-10 years.
I guess, but there's only, and I'm not saying he has to do a whole lot, but he's only got about 4 offensive moves. And I'm not saying he needs to go out there and start doing Frankensteiners and, Topa Suicidas and shit like that.
No. I guess it's more believable or whatever.
Yeah, you want him to do the power stuff. That's what you want him to slam people and maybe throw them and do some Germans. That's what you want out of that guy.
Yeah.
That's essentially what you want. You don't want this guy doing Topa Suicidas and fucking going, sliced bread number 2 and shit like that. That was always, that's what we laughed at when they were talking about how, Keith Lee and what's his name? Otis, they can't work. Get them down to Florida. They can't work. God damn it. What do you want them to do? They're big, huge motherfucking guys. What did you Earthquake! He can't work. Get him out of here. I want him to do some shit. Do some shit. I don't really need Earthquake to do much. I just need him to throw people around and shit. That's what we need. That's what I need him to do. That's Andre the Giant guy. He can't work. He can't work. Andre needs to do like two things. He needs to slam people, and then he needs to choke slam people, and that's all he needs to do. That's all.
That's pretty much it.
He needs to like stack a bunch of people in the corner and then run into them.
With his butt.
That's what he needs to do. Jesus Christ, Vince. And that's how I feel about Bobby Lashley. I don't see him as where they see him in that company, which is weird.
I don't know. I think, he's good for a runner, a run for as champion, world champion, or whichever, universal champion, whichever one. But putting the belt back on him after all this, and maybe it was one of those things that they had to do just at the last minute kind of thing, and that's where we're at now. And maybe he's just holding the belt for a minute until, I don't know, WrestleMania maybe.
It's
and
fine.
Then it's off of him. But I think he's fine. And I'll tell you, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Our buddy Colton, he and I talk sometimes about Brian Cage, and I talk about how much I like him, and how much, even though I know some of the things he's done lately has not been, I don't know, stand-up-ish. I don't know, however you want to word it, how you want to phrase it. If you talking about some of his tweets and social media things and all that, and just kind of some bitterness going on, it seems like, between he and AEW and him not being used right and that sort of thing. But and socially speaking, and some of his politics and stuff, it's been little suspect and stuff. And despite that, I still kind of have this little bitty place in my heart for him, because God damn it, man, when he was in Lucha Underground, that dude, between him and Matanza and like Prince Puma, I mean, it was just like, I just want to go live there. I just want to go to that place and just put me
hang out there,
camp out, and just hang out, man.
But don't you feel like that place smelled sort of like Bourbon Street during March? A lot of vomit and piss and maybe some rat shit.
Very much so, man. Actually,
I would be ultimately very disappointed if you walked into that place and all of a sudden it smells really good in here. It smells like kind of a vanilla thing.
It smells like Abercrombie and Fitch.
You don't want that, man. It's like it would be like walking into the ECW arena and it's like, oh, this smells like Forever 21. No, I don't want that.
No,
it needs to smell like sweat and piss and beer. That's what it needs to smell like. It just needs to.
It's right. It's right, man. And it probably did. But yeah. So yeah. I don't know. So I still feel bad about it. I still have a little place in my heart. And the thing about it is that here's another thing, and this is what my relation is to who we were just talking about before Cage. My response.
Yeah, right.
Who was it that we were talking about? We were talking about Cage, but I referred to Cage because of somebody.
Oh, Lashley. I was talking about Lashley before that.
Lashley. Thank you. This is where this is all coming back here too.
Okay.
This is when I met Cage, at WrestleCade that time.
Yeah, he was nice. I thought he was really nice.
He was an awesome dude, man.
Yeah.
He and I judge people on that now. If they came across as nice, and I'm a fan of theirs. I don't care what they do until they do something really
douchey,
just off the wall, stupid. Yes, but and that's kind of the same with Lashley. Was that time we were at WrestleCade, and I don't know if you remember this. We're just talking with, I want to say we were just talking with, it was your boy that had that podcast. And
was it Van Vliet? Chris Van Vliet?
No, the guy that was from up in Richmond. What was his name?
Oh, yeah, Matt. It was the guy, Conrad's buddy.
Yes, him. We were talking to him. And while we were talking to him out in the lobby, this is not even the main part, but out in the lobby.
That's back when we were talking. He was out there, and Bruce Mitchell was with us. We can't talk about Bruce anymore.
I didn't want to say anything. Well, see, we would just say, BM, but then people would think we're talking about something else. So
we never knew Bruce Mitchell. We have no idea who that is.
Who? You say Bruce Springsteen? I've got almost all his CDs.
Yeah, we were talking to Matt, and then there was a Bobby Mitchell. There was a Bobby Lashley.
Lashley sighting. Yeah, he was leaving. He had his stuff, and you could tell he's getting ready to pack it up for the day, and he was walking out the door. And a few people came up to him, and he was graciously doing exactly what he was getting paid $25, $30 or whatever it was 5 minutes ago before he left.
Yeah.
To do for these people that in the lobby for free, and he did it without any kind of bullshit or anything.
I'll give him that.
Like,
I'll give him that all day. Yeah,
I remember that shit. You know.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
But I mean, I'm not taking away, and I'm not saying it takes away from what you saying was some of his negative stuff, because I do agree about some of them. You know, he definitely needs somebody on the mic, just like Lex Luger. You know, he was never meant to hold the damn microphone. And
look, anybody, when we go to one of those wrestle things, and if we end up going to WrestleCon this time, anybody can have a bad day. Anybody, and I know it's not a great atmosphere, especially in these days. People are wearing masks, and you're in the tight. Some people get claustrophobia, and people are pushing and shoving, and some people are asking you stupid ass questions like. You go up to certain people and you ask them if their dad ever gave them investment advice. They're like, I don't know. Why don't you go ask him? Okay, I didn't mean anything. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe after the fourth time you mentioned it to her, I think that's when she was actually getting a little.
I kept exploring it, trying to find an inch of daylight. I'm sorry, Rachel. I just thought maybe at some point he would have talked to it's like that's a cool thing to talk to your dad about.
I guess not. I guess she's still one of those generations or something.
You just have some asshole come up to you and ask these questions thinking you're exactly like you're. I'm sure anybody can have a bad day at one of those things. But again, it's the people like that. And we always go back to Drew McIntyre because that was the nicest one. That was the guy who spent time with the fans. It was frustrating because you wanted to get your shit, but he spent time with all of us and he chatted, and he had gone through, I think, a rough time at that time, and he was just happy to hang out with the fans and kind of get back to what made him love the business in the first place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He loved it.
Really nice.
He was going on and on about how he couldn't believe it was like how it was. He didn't expect it.
And Jay White was very nice to you when you talked to him, and he was very personable. And he was, I think, a little surprised at the reaction he was getting from fans there and stuff. But he was, everything was solid gold.
Yeah. So, and I talked, and like Jay White, I didn't want to like inundate him with everything that I think everybody else was wanting to talk to him about, even though
if you and Go Shiozaki ever had a match that was 60 minutes at the Tokyo Dome, who do you think would win? You didn't want to do that?
That's exactly right.
If you
had like I said, it's not like I didn't want to know.
Misawa, would you insist that Misawa go over?
See, yeah. That I'll admit it. That's kind of shit I was going. I wanted to say, but we kept it like very almost non-wrestling. To be honest, we're talking about just how he never came to stuff like that, probably because I didn't know of him. And he goes, "Yeah, I don't really go to a whole lot of stuff like this, unless it's like an appearance like right before a show, like a New Japan show or something. Nothing like he goes specially just for this kind of thing,
right.
So that's the kind of stuff we're talking to him about. Nothing like match specific, but at the whole time I'm going, this motherfucker was just the biggest badass in New Japan.
He was.
And God damn it. I want to talk to him about some of this stuff, but I don't want to seem like the biggest nerd. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent on that, but it's
nice. It's nice
seeing him on AEW now is just bringing back all that stuff. So,
Well, let's talk about somebody who really needs to be freed, not Leva, as you pointed out on your Chiron. What about this Mustafa Ali situation now? He's being held hostage by World Wrestling Entertainment right now.
What the fuck?
This is from comicbook.com. Those who have been keeping up with the Mustafa Ali current situation with WWE well know he's asked for his release, and since revealed, the WWE is not going to let him have it. That situation doesn't seem to be improving after the superstar's last post on Twitter either, which said, "I'll see y'all in like 2.5 years."
Yeah, I saw that. What?
That's likely when his contract runs out. Since all this started, Ali hasn't been a presence on WWE television. That, unfortunately, doesn't look to end anytime soon, according to his latest tweet. Ali requested his release at a time when WWE had just finished releasing quite a few wrestlers from their roster due to budget cuts. And because of that, some stars requested their release from the company shortly after and received it. As reports said, WWE was typically not going to hold up a request for release after all the cuts. Then Ali requested his release, revealing this on Twitter. He would also show off on a promo that he filmed that was supposed to be the launch of a new character, and it drew positive response from the fans. According to reports, this character change might be at the center of the issues between Ali and WWE. As it was said, WWE was set to go ahead with his new character until things were shaken up at the last minute. And if you believe all of the dirt sheets, Ali had some sort of a verbal altercation with Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and that's what's put him on the bench, Bryant, and now he cannot be freed. He cannot go through the forbidden door.
Uh-oh. Is this going to be another John Moxley or what there was another situation kind of similar to this? Was it Rusev, was it?
Yeah, it's kind of like
let
that.
go. I don't remember, but yeah, I hope it's not one of those bullshit things where he just, tweets stuff like this for the next, I don't know, fucking year or whatever until they just said, okay, you're gone.
Enough.
I mean, it's just, come on now. Just let him go. Just let him go. I mean, seriously, just let him go.
I wonder at this point, like how much of an asshole they're being. I wonder if he has to like actually show up at TV or anything. Like, nope, you got to come. You got to be there. It's you got a noon call. You got to be there. We're not going to use you, but you still have to be at TV at noon.
It probably is some shit like that, man.
I bet hang out at catering, eat a couple of salads, have some water.
Yeah.
It's one thing if they just let him hang out at home and they just put the checks in the bank every 2.5 weeks or whatever they do. But then now
that's like Kevin Nash.
Yeah, essentially. That's
a Kevin Nash move.
That's basically it's like, but they're not going to use you or anything. But they still I'm sorry, you're still going to have to show up at television, even though we're not going to use you. We have no plans to use you whatsoever.
I would like to know though, but I bet it's the latter. But it's what you just said.
That's weird. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's what is that what we're just going by what actually happened to him is what the dirt sheets said.
Well, there doesn't seem to be any inconsistency with the stuff that he's tweeted that would make you think that they got it all wrong.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't seen all his tweets. I did see that one tweet you just mentioned, but I didn't see all of them, so I didn't know how much he had mentioned it or whatever.
We mentioned Bryan Danielson going into the ROH Hall of Fame. In the early years, he was considered the top star of the promotion, writes Mr. David Meltzer. He won the ROH title in 2005, holds the record with 38 successful title defenses and a 15.5-month title reign, which at the time was considered astronomical. It also kind of made sense. He also defeated Nigel McGuinness in Liverpool to unify the ROH title with a pure title in one of the best and most legitimately dangerous matches in company history. He, more than anyone else, epitomized the main event scene of the company till he signed with WWE in 2009. This coming weekend's television show, and they still do have television shows in ROH, will be devoted to an ROH career retrospective with Bryan Danielson. Who told us it was going to be like that, Bryant? Who told us to our faces at a show that eventually the ROH stuff probably in 2022 was going to be the best of blank, the best of blank, the best of blank? Didn't Brad Stutz tell us that at the Firestar show last year? That's what
you're right.
It's going to be the best of CM Punk. It's going to be the best of Bryan Danielson. It's going to be the best of Tyler Black. It's going to be the best of the Briscoes. It's going to be all the stars to run out the clock on this thing before they finally put a bullet in this son of a bitch, this damn promotion.
Is that what it is? They were just waiting for a contract to run out on.
I don't know. Everything? They can't figure out anything else to do. After Rush Limbaugh died, and it was almost a year ago, February the 17th of 2021, they, on those iHeart radio stations, they just kept playing reruns for like 2 months.
They're not still doing it?
No, they actually have people. They have live shows on there now.
Oh, okay, good. Thank God.
But it's not like
thank God.
It's not like they weren't warned he had terminal cancer leading up to it. They're like, oh, we probably need to go ahead and have something in place, and they didn't for 2 months. I do remember there was even one market, I think it was like Bakersfield or something, where the station goes, we're tapping out. No more Rush reruns. And their competition across town, well, we'll take the dead guy. If you don't want him, he's ours. Absolutely, we'll take him. That happened.
There's our 3 to 5.
We got it now. What are you talking about? Shit, that's the best thing ever. One of my favorite things that ever happened was I probably told you this in 2010 when Bill Flynn was doing the morning show on the conservative station, and then we knocked him out in like the Tea Party year, right?
Yeah,
the Tea Party year. After the midterm elections, they legitimately on their show goes, well, we're having a celebration party the day after the November 2010 Tea Party election. We're having a celebration. Call in and celebrate with us. And then like a week or 10 days after that, they were fired. They were done. They sucked so bad on a Republican radio station in a huge Republican year, they got fired. So
that's bad.
There was no plan for them. They had Rush Limbaugh reruns on during morning drive. So 6 to 10, Rush, or 6 to 9 Rush, and then it was Glenn Beck. Then it was the Rush Limbaugh show from noon to 3, and then they had the afternoon show, which was Hannity, and then I think it was Rush Limbaugh reruns again from like 6 to 9.
And what was the name of that station? What was their?
It truly was Rush Radio. It truly
that
was.
Also, okay, yeah.
Then after he died, it should have been Dead Radio, because that's pretty much what they are.
Yeah.
A YouTube special on Bryan Danielson will be released on Valentine's Day. That's 2/14 at 9 o'clock Eastern on the YouTube channel. And the 3-5 episode of the television show will be all about Danielson. The Briscoes and the next 2 members announced in coming weeks. There's so many candidates for the next 2 spots, including CM Punk, Jay Lethal, Young Bucks, Samoa Joe, Nigel McGuinness, Hunter Johnston, you know him best as Delirious, Gabe Sapolsky, but it should be a must that Kerry Silken is in the first class. I'm going to say, if there's any class left in Ring of Honor, Jim Cornette should be in their Hall of Fame. I don't give a shit what happens. Jim Cornette should be in there. He's the reason that they brought him into that promotion. He's the reason they made the sale to Sinclair, which turned out to be the death of the promotion, but not his fault. He did exactly what they wanted. He improved stuff. Jim Cornette needs to be in the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame. I think that would be remarkable if they did that.
Well, going by all those names you just mentioned before him,
mm-hmm.
all those names are names that would actually, don't really have any controversy behind them. I'll just say
exactly.
So
exactly.
I think that's why. Now they might surprise us, but I never thought that would happen. I never,
It would be amazing after all the shit that he's talked about ROH if they put him in the ROH Hall of Fame. That would be so funny.
Yeah. But they might offer and he might not accept. You never know what kind of mood he's in.
Even that would be, to me, that would be great for the fans too if he turned it down. That would be like the funniest thing ever.
No thanks.
One of my favorite gimmicks on that show is when he's talking about his cameos, and like Brian Lash just kills him like, you're not charging enough. You're not charging enough for your fucking cameos. He'll do like a cameo once every 2 months, and I don't know who he has run the camera because he can't do shit. He would barely be able to run a flip phone at this point. Like a Razor. I think it was like the most modern phone he's ever had in his life. And he'll say, I'll do 50 spots. And he charged $50 or whatever. And he'll fill them all up, and he won't do them for like another 2 months or something like that. Because he just doesn't give a shit. He doesn't like, Jim Cornette, he will whore himself out for money only to the slightest extent, only to the very slightest extent. The way to get Jim Cornette to your wrestling convention is if you could possibly get the remaining members of the Midnight Express there, and then they would appeal to him to come and do it with him, and he would probably give the money to them. That's the way to do it. If Dennis calls him up right now, Stan, and again, I don't think Stan gives a shit. I don't think Stan would go, like, WrestleCade is probably 10 miles from Stan's house, and he barely can make it to and I really feel like the main reason that Stan made it to that was so that Bobby could get the money, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I was going to say, I haven't seen him, he wasn't there this past time.
If they called Dennis up and Dennis appealed to Jim and said, Jim, I need the payday. I want you to be in Dallas for WrestleCon, or I want you to be, and Jim would go, all right, fuck it. I'll pack the truck up and we'll go do it. And I'll sell my gimmicks and I'll, this, that, and the other. Right.
Yeah. This will be about this is like an 8-hour drive. So, give or take
something like that. So he might go like once in a while. He might go to that con in Lexington, but that's about all he's doing. He ain't going to do shit from now on. Now that Bobby's no longer with us, he ain't going to go out for paydays anymore. He ain't going to try to help out much of the boys anymore at all. No. I'm trying to think of who he would enhance. I can't think of anybody that he would be out there, to help out these days. But now that Bobby's gone,
Condrey would ask him to do it. Even if
like
he needed the money or whatever. I don't think he would ask Cornette to do it. I mean, Cornette might offer to do it. I don't know how
he might. It would take.
But I don't think Stan's going to be standing up for.
Stan don't care. Stan's got enough money. He's fine. He didn't pay those paternity bills to Lauren Boebert's moms.
Well, he's got to lay low. where best than where he is right now.
I think Stanford lives up in like Rural Hall or something like that. I think he's up there somewhere.
That's
I believe I think that's where he is, up there in rural.
Yes.
Around here we call that rural hell. That's what we call it around here, guys.
Man, that was a spooky road. Did you ever go up that road?
I've been up there a little bit. There ain't
Road.
much to it. It's a decent little town, but yeah, it does get kind of creepy, kind of Jason Woods, right?
Oh, definitely. But there was
kind of Crystal Lake-ish.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was kind of known for this. It kind of circled around as like a little 2-lane road, but there was a little bridge it was a 1-lane bridge, right?
Huh.
And it was right at this house. You're kind of in the woods, and you came around to this curve where this bridge is, and then all of a sudden there's this little rickety old house on your left, and then supposedly if you sat there for a second on the bridge, you couldn't start your car back.
Oh shit! There was like a local legend about a ghost, like
local legend.
Car. Oh Jesus!
Right. So we had some girls in there one night. Of course, acted like we couldn't start the car and shit. They were freaking out. They jumped out of the car, ran up to that house. So now we're freaking out, legit, because we're like, oh shit. We're gonna have to go up to that house now. Fuck.
Look what you did, smart ass.
So what did you do? What's going on?
You found him in that house, and Stan Lane was fucking the shit out of him.
How did you know? If I told you this,
that's the bow on top of the story.
Oh shit!
Good time.
But yeah, well, I was gonna say it's probably up near Stan Lane's house for all I know.
That's where he took all his chicks to bang him.
Yeah, well, you never know.
David Meltzer, right? It looks like that 3-6 Revolution show is shaping up to be Adam Page versus Adam Cole for the AEW title, possibly CM Punk versus MJF. Dave writes that he's expecting stipulation. There will be a Face of the Revolution ladder match where the winner gets a shot at Sammy Guevara's TNT title. What do you think of that angle where Sammy Guevara is done with the Inner Circle? I thought they played that thing out really well on Wednesday.
Yeah, it kind of left you hanging. It didn't really, it wasn't a defining moment really for even between goddamn
LAX.
Yeah, I was going to say LAX. That's so funny you say that, and I stopped myself from saying it. But yeah, I mean, it just it's coming, I guess, but it just nothing was definitive. That's why I liked it. Yeah.
I like the idea that they were calling him out, like everything that we've done in this promotion, we've done it for you. It's been for your benefit, and they were like getting in his face about it and shit. I enjoyed that part of it.
Or there might be some truth to that.
There's a lot of truth to that. That's exactly the way it is.
Wasn't going to say that, but can't help it.
Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa looks to be the direction of the women's title. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and after this week's, they should start focusing on Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus' tag team title defense with the Young Bucks. Oh, there we go. Ortiz and Santana being prime candidates. It appeared they were building towards Jericho versus Eddie Kingston or some sort of tag feud with those two as the focal points. Kingston hasn't returned yet from a fractured orbital bone, and they've had several layers of stories to go when Kingston got hurt. Last we heard, he was expecting to be back next week. John Moxley and Bryan Danielson's direction should be made clear in the next week. There was a Danielson promo tape that will air on the 211 Rampage show. Was it? I didn't see it. I didn't see the 211 Rampage show.
I saw it.
The fans in the building didn't see that will build to his direction. Penta and Phoenix, if ready, should face Malachi Black and Brody King, or a Penta versus Black singles match. The idea is for Moxley to answer him as to whether to fight him or join him. The latter match, based on teases, will be a series of qualification matches. Keith Lee is in. Andrade and Darby Allin have talked about it. God, they have tried everything to get fucking Andrade over, and they just cannot get that son of a bitch over.
It's just something, it's almost going back to NXT, to be honest. I mean, there's just something there, but then there's just something not there. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just you want to like him, you want to root for him, but it's just like he's just so.
He's not a guy you root for. There's like certain people in wrestling. There's a certain people in wrestling you root. Like Bryan Danielson has always been a guy that you root for.
Yeah.
I just don't ever see that with Andrade. And the more that they try to put him here, let's put him over here. He's going to be with the Matt Hardy guys here. And then it's difficult. They can't get him over for shit.
I know. Well, I think what happened was, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but back when he was in NXT, he was kind of just there. He wasn't really blowing it up one way or the other. He was just kind of doing his thing. And all of a sudden, he became like one of the senior guys there. And then the fans, you remember that stretch of time in NXT when right before the pandemic hit, I guess, where the fans in NXT were just the best. They would get behind virtually every. Well, he was like one of the ones that they started really getting behind. I guess just because he had been there a while, kind of thing. Nothing that he had done that I can remember, but he just kind of became a fan favorite, and that's when they bumped him up. They just automatically bumped him up, seemed like right after that. And when they bumped him up, look what happened,
Yeah.
So, and it just kind of carried over, man. It seemed like the AEW, there's just no change there. It just seems like the same dude and just very, I don't know, dude. I'm with you on that.
They can't, it ain't working. It ain't working.
No, we were the only ones saying this. I mean,
I think everybody's pretty much. I mean, it's. I don't know who's harder to get over, him or Brandy. We didn't see any Brandy at all this week after her disastrous appearance the week before.
Can't have her on every week, man. There's just no way.
But then it's kind of bona fide proof that they can't do anything with her. Right now, she and Cody they're nuclear. You can't do shit with either one of them right now. I mean, there's a lot of intrigue, and I think they're probably too busy filming the season 2 of Road to the Top anyway.
Probably. Yeah, that sounds about right.
The ladder match based on teases will be a series of qualification matches. Keith Lee, Andrade, Darby Allin have talked about it. Scorpio Sky could be in the mix. They built up he wants a shot at Guevara as well. Wardlow, giving Wardlow a bit of a push right now, which looks good. So yeah, Lee and Jay White were the surprise debuts in Atlantic City. Lee has signed a full-time deal. White was a late addition to the show. Apparently, when Tony Khan saw a reaction of him talking about his opening the forbidden door, which he meant for Lee, it was a phrase made up by Hiroshi Tanahashi, Brad. Hiroshi Tanahashi! That's the answer to the question. Who was supposed to do a program at one point with John Moxley, but that hasn't happened yet, for his match with Jericho at the Tokyo Dome. People saw it as someone coming from New Japan. So Khan, this is good. So Khan, a few days before the show, made a deal to get Jay White for TV, but the mystery guy was always Lee. So Tony Khan thought the fans would just be disappointed if it was just Keith Lee, so he puts Jay White on the bill.
Well, I think that was the whole forbidden door thing, though, right?
That's what it was. They just immediately thought that the fans thought that immediately meant something that was happening from New Japan.
Right.
And if it was, it's just Keith Lee. Oh, fuck that. Boo! Boo! Boo!
well, they have a right, man. That's true. I think
it's just Keith Lee. Boo!
But even though they would have a right to think that would have a right to think that, though.
I was led to believe it was going to be somebody from New Japan, and I want somebody from New Japan right now, Tony Khan.
I thought it was a whole forbidden door thing just in general. Like somebody like, I don't know, that people thought was not gone from WWE, but actually were gone. Like a Lex Luger showing up that night at WCW kind of thing.
According to David Meltzer, Rampage coming up this coming week on the 18th will air from 7 to 8 rather than the usual 10 o'clock Eastern time because TNT is doing a Friday night NBA game. Oh, no. David Meltzer, it's not a Friday night NBA game. I believe that's going to be the pros all-star thing, the celebrity all-star, and maybe the three-point contest and all that shit. That's what's happening. Next week is the huge NBA all-star weekend from Cleveland, Ohio. That's what's happening next weekend. Come on, Mr. Meltzer, get your shit together. The only stuff announced for the 216 for the upcoming Dynamite show in Nashville is Chris Jericho and Jake Hager versus Santana and Ortiz, and Thunder Rosa versus Mercedes Martinez in a no DQ match. And yes, since it is in Nashville, I will cross my fingers for Jeff Jarrett, the man who has beaten Effie down like a drum.
Never know.
Your face when I said the name Jeff Jarrett, it was less than solicitous.
I don't know. Never mind.
Jeff was nice to us. Jeff was nice to us. Jeff and his wife were very nice to us when we talked to him. On two occasions, Jeff was nice to us.
Yes. Even recently.
His face got a little sour when I mentioned I was on the research staff
I was
for the
gonna
My
say
World podcast, but he got the joke after about 5 seconds.
Yeah. I was going to say, but
Bill Behrens was more amused with me than than Jeff was.
Yes, but I think Bill Behrens was the one who helped Jeff realize what you said. So
yes, well, Bill,
yes.
Bill. I mean, I was going to say to him, and I should have followed up with, "Who told this guy to get his shit in? Who told him? He's the star of the fucking." He starts calling everybody out. He calls Russo out. He calls this person out. He calls Dixie out. I'm like, holy shit! Bill Behrens is shooting better than any of these motherfuckers. This is great.
This is the kind of shit I'm here for.
I love that Bill Behrens doesn't have anything to lose in this goddamn business anymore, so he's actually going to tell the truth. Give it to me, Bill. Come on.
He's just dealing it out like 5-card Monty, man.
All right. Any other closing thoughts on another award-winning edition of Katie Vick is Alive?
Well, I will say with AEW, one last thing on Dynamite, that was one of their best. I enjoyed it. One of their best, as far as I'm concerned, one of their best shows in a long time, from top to bottom.
I thought it was pretty solid. I thought it was pretty tightly done. The surprises were good. The backstage vignettes were held to a minimum. They let CM Punk and MJF do their thing. Yeah, I thought it was a solid show.
And the Moxley Punk tag team, thought was unexpected. And
well,
nice,
people, Moxley's hot as a pistol right now. You can't take anything away from Moxley in his return.
Yeah, oh man, it's awesome. So I just thought everything was good. I mean, the only thing I didn't care for really was one of the women's matches.
Yeah,
I'm with Jade and AQA. I did like that. I was kind of interested in seeing what AQA was about.
Again, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Fuck Danhausen. I don't give a shit about Danhausen. It's a stupid act. I don't understand why the guy's in there. They're going to have him in the ring. He's going to do his little tequila dance. Everybody, and that's all he's got. That's all the motherfucker has. He's shot his wad. At that point, that's all he's got. But you guys can have fun with him. Have him appear out from under them and look like fucking King Diamond from 1987. I don't give a shit. Or he looks like maybe Gene Simmons looked on the first Kiss cover, the first Kiss album cover.
Dressed to Kill?
No, the first, like the one that just
first
says Kiss.
One, that one, yeah. Yes. Just says
with the love theme from Kiss on it and all that shit.
He does, man.
That's what he looks like.
I just brush him off as a generational thing. I
guess. I don't know. And hear me out, he could just suck.
I mean, you may be right, Billy Joel.
Bryant is available on social media at Twitter and Instagram at Bry Sports, BRY Sports. Our show Twitter is at Katie Vick Alive. Katie Vick Alive. That's how we want you to get in touch with us on Twitter. My personal email, or my personal Twitter rather, is at Britt Whitmire, and my personal Instagram is BDub4Reels, BDUB 4 REELZ. And if you want to support what we do, it's very easy to do. That's our Amazon store, which is katievick.com. It's katievick.com. You might still have time to get stuff for Valentine's Day. I don't know. If you're pretty lame, though, if you've waited this long, you bastards. katievick.com. Until next time, fans, we'll see you ringside.